you kind of have to pull it together and you kind of just do what you need to do with your kids and move and try and give them the best that you can and you try and heal.
You're listening to the Spiritual Shitshow podcast with Suzanne Sole, episode 66. Hello, you gorgeous creatures, and welcome to the Spiritual Shitshow podcast, where we get into the wild and crazy ride the healing and spiritual awakening journey can be. I'm your host, Suzanne Sole, comedian, lifelong spiritual student, and I'm sharing some of the sacred stuff I've learned along my journey that has helped me, and that I hope helps you too. You know what the world needs more of? Women leaders. That's right, women in leadership. So I've got a special ass 4-part series for you where we're talking all about it. Welcome to this here powerful 4-part series celebrating women, healing through stories, and exploring how we as women can rise together into leadership. With my guest, Lisa Jimenez, founder of SheIsMe Global, a worldwide women's empowerment movement creating spaces for women to share their stories and step into leadership. Lisa brings nearly 4 decades of experience in corporate product management and large-scale event production. And she's woven those skills with her lived wisdom to build something truly meaningful. SheIsMe Global now spans conferences, retreats, virtual gatherings, and global events that connect women across more than 60 countries, featuring hundreds of speakers committed to healing, truth-telling, and collective rising. Oh yeah. My connection with Lisa started in the most modern type of spiritual way possible, a Google search. That's right. One day in 2024, I decided I wanted to find and get involved with organizations that were led by and empowered women. So I did a Google search, and I came across an upcoming SheIsMe conference looking for workshop presenters for an upcoming virtual conference, so I reached out to Lisa to see if I could be a part of it. And Lisa welcomed me into the 2024 SheIsMe Global Conference, where I presented a workshop called Using Life Experiences as Creative Juice. I mean, it's cute, right? It was a totes fulfilling experience. And since then, Lisa has invited me to participate in more SheIsMe events, and so I'm so grateful our paths crossed. Proof that sometimes the universe really does work through stuff like Google search. In part 1 of the series, Lisa shares how SheIsMe Global was born and about her painful personal journey that eventually became a catalyst for her work. Lisa is a survivor of domestic violence and attempted murder, and she has rebuilt her life from the inside out, transforming survival into purpose and creating space for herself and countless other women to not only heal, but to thrive. Here's a trigger warning. This episode includes discussion of domestic violence, so please take care of yourself while listening. We're tracing the beginning, the identity she lost, the power she reclaimed, and how one woman's rise can spark a movement that lifts many. So let's roll it, for crying out loud. Lisa Jimenez!
Hello.
Hi! Welcome to the Spiritual Shitshow interview shitshow.
Glad to be here.
So happy to have you. And I'm going to share how I found Lisa, which is I was scouring the internet, looking for female-driven things to be a part of. And I found SheIsMe conference, and I applied, and Lisa let me in.
I did. I was excited to
Yeah.
have you.
Thank you so much. So please tell us about the SheIsMe Global SheIsMe conference.
Sure. So years ago in another lifetime, I experienced domestic violence and I grew up kind of in this chaos and violent world. And as I was healing, I decided, that my mission was to just help as many women as I could as possible, to break the cycle, to get out of a DV and never get into one if I could, if I could help them in that way. And and I was speaking in rooms with like Al-Anon and some other places where, it was a safe space, but there was no safe space sort of out there in the interwebs, right? Like, yeah, I just couldn't find anywhere. There were lots of women's conferences, but no one who wanted to touch the subject of domestic violence. And it was pre Me Too movement. And I remember the day that I actually posted Me Too on my Facebook page. And it just really was like, I'm actually
Mhm.
saying it out loud. So I woke up one morning and often have these sort of aha moments when I'm just not quite awake yet. And um and it hit me. I have all this experience, corporate experience, producing events and marketing and blah blah blah, and decided that I could just do it myself because there really wasn't a safe space out there. Time I would post or talk about domestic violence, there was someone commenting that I probably deserved it, or there was some sort of backlash and some sort
That
of.
is shocking, to tell you the
It's
truth.
not. It happens all the time.
It's awful.
And and so I thought there's got to be a way to create something where those people can't really get to us, right? So how do I create this safe space where women can come and tell their stories, and not just about domestic violence? It could be
Yes.
anything. It could be, you know, um, it could be there are lots of, stories of grooming in religious areas, and
Yeah.
having a husband pass away, or losing a limb, or escaping a terrible government, or I mean the list goes on. It's just, where can I tell my story to sort of release it,
Yeah.
but feel safe and not judged and not shamed for having been through that experience. So I created it. The first year, I just sort of called women that I knew and said, "Hey, do you want to come and tell your story?" And
Yeah.
I had almost 30 women come and
Mm.
share their stories, and then we produced a couple of other little smaller events
Yeah.
online,
And it was all virtual at that
all
point.
virtual at that point,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this year is our
Wow.
sixth year. We have
Incredible.
over 75 speakers this year. It goes on for 6 days. So yeah, it's grown. We
And,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, women are from all over the world
All over.
participating in this, correct?
Right,
Incredible.
yeah. So in the last 6 years, we are up to 63 countries this year.
Wow.
We've had women from, gosh, everywhere.
And they're just kind of finding out about it from their friend maybe speaking, and then
Their friend, or they've joined our mailing list, or they've
yes.
been on a group somewhere, or they've seen, we try and post just about everywhere on all social media. Um, and then I think, let's say you are from another country, and then you post on your page, and then you've got all your friends coming, and
Yeah.
it's word of mouth. It just spreads, because it is so impactful to hear
Yeah.
that other women, and that was my mission, right? To, like, I wanted other women to go, wow, she is me. Like, I've been through that.
Yes.
I'm not alone.
It's so important because I think especially as women, we are told so many times that we're being oversensitive or that we're making a big deal out of something, and it's so many things are a big deal that we're dealing with.
So much.
And may I ask you, would you be open to sharing what your qualifier was to
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in a household. My background, I'm Mexican, and my dad's Mexican. My mom is the whitest white woman you've ever seen.
White.
White. Um, Mexican family, and it's there's this very uh, patriarchal hierarchy, and it's, there's a lot of partying, and there's a lot of, there's a lot
Yeah.
going on there. But my dad was the fun guy. Everybody loved my dad. You know, he's a great personality, charming, good looking, everything else, but he was really violent and nasty, especially when he drank, and he drank all the time.
Oh,
And so, you know, when you grow up in that, you sort of become hyper alert, hyper aware. You walk on eggshells all the time. You know, just you get sort of trained in your trauma. And then you when you grow up and you start getting into relationships, you definitely look for something that's comfortable,
familiar.
familiar, right?
Yeah,
And I did.
yeah.
And so you know, of course it didn't start out violent. Of course I wouldn't have, you know, if it
Right.
did, I probably wouldn't have stayed, right? But
Of course.
it's yeah, it's a lot of women will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Love bombing. I call it love bombs and breadcrumbs, right?
Yeah.
You get love bombed, and then you just get thrown these crumbs, and you're just like, give me some, please, sir, can I have some more? You know, like just
Yes.
give me some more breadcrumbs. And then it just sort of escalates over the years, right? It starts with withholding attention. It starts with a little push here or a little there. And 17 years later, because you know, you kind of are taught, I don't know about you, but I grew up, you know, in a Catholic household, and you get married, you don't get divorced, and you you watch your parents stay through thick and thin. You watch, you know, all these other, that's what you're supposed to do. So you just
Right.
got put up with it, you think.
Yeah.
Um, and then you think, you know, how are my kids gonna do without a dad? And you know, all these without their dad in their
Yes,
life,
of
right?
course.
All these
I
things.
do know this scenario, by
Yeah.
the way.
See? See?
I've lived it. Yep.
Yeah. And so you doubt yourself all the time, and you question your decisions, and am I doing the right thing? And then you go back, you know, it's kind of this back and forth tug of war thing. And then finally I I sort of asked the universe for some help, right?
And he had gotten physical at this point.
Yeah, yeah, he'd
Yeah.
gotten physical. This is years into the
Yeah.
physical, you know, it was like he'd push me into a wall, or he'd, um, stomp on my foot, or you know, there are, like, all kinds of little weird things that were happening, and, um, I had asked for a divorce, and, he almost killed me that night, but, you know, I think caught himself, and he went and moved into, we had an office in our house. We moved into the office, and a couple weeks later, you know, he was looking for a place to live, basically. And a couple weeks later, I took my son to go spend the night at a friend's house, and I came back, and my daughter came running up, and she was crying, and daddy said this and this and this. And I, you know, I walked in, I was really calm. I just said,
He said some cruel things to
he
your
said
daughter.
some, yeah, some
Okay.
really awful,
Yeah.
not to her, like, not cruel things to her, but cruel things like, "Mommy doesn't want me here, mommy hates
Oh,
me,"
that's too
you
much
know, that,
information for
yeah,
her. Yeah.
that kinda stuff.
That's
And,
inappropriate.
she came up crying,
Oh,
and I said, you know, "We're not gonna do this." And so
yeah.
I walked in, and I sat down, and I said, "Just keep the kids out of it. Let's just be grown-ups, and let's just take care of this. Like, don't try and influence the children. It's not okay."
Right.
And, if you've ever been in a situation like this, you sort of see this change in
Yeah.
this person, in the person's face,
You
right?
know what's coming.
And I saw the change, and the next thing you know, the dog was picked up and thrown out of the room, the door was slammed shut,
Oh.
I was thrown through a window, um,
Oh,
you know, got back
my
up.
gosh.
So I couldn't get out of the house for about an hour and a half.
Mm.
I was by the time I got out, I was broken, I was bleeding, I was, you know, I finally got in my car. Luckily, I drove a Prius at the time, and I didn't need a key. I just had my key fob with me,
Oh,
you
thank
know,
goodness.
and it was in my pocket, so I was able to, because I had come back from taking my daughter somewhere, right? So I had my keys in my pocket, or my little key fob in my pocket. And, got my daughter in the car, and she wouldn't leave. That was one thing that, she thought if she left, he would definitely kill me, right? So she didn't
Right.
wanna leave.
Oh, geez.
Um, I know, poor baby, and she was 9 maybe at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and so we got in the car and we were screaming and crying and I was bleeding and we were, get down the street and I pull over because I thought we were out of the way, enough out of the way. And the next thing you know, he starts banging on the windows of the car because he
Oh my
chased us
God.
down the street. And he broke my phone, so I couldn't call
Oh,
anybody.
jeez.
But when I got in my car, for some reason, when you turn on your car's connected, right? So I was able to call my mom and she answered and I said, Mom, call the police. He's trying to kill me. And the phone disconnected. And so she was 3 hours away. So she called 911 at her place. They
Was she?
dispatched, or
Oh,
called
thank God.
the city I lived in. And as he's banging on the windows trying to get at me, about 8 cop cars came around the corner.
Oh, thank God.
And and I said, "Why are there 8?" And they said, "Well, nothing ever happens here around here." And we were really wanting to take care
My
of it,
God. This is the most craziest thing that's oh
Yeah.
my God. Thank
Yeah.
God.
So,
Yeah.
so with that, I had a temporary restraining order that night.
Yes.
That was a Saturday night. I had to go to the courthouse on Monday to get my 90-day restraining order. He was thrown in jail for a few days, and the
Yes.
day he got out, he
Yeah.
actually came to the house.
Of course. Yep.
Restraining order,
Yep.
didn't matter. He was there. Um, So anyway, we lived through that.
And
The
so when he came
trauma.
back, you were able to keep him away after that. Obviously, he didn't attack you again when he came back
Right,
after
right,
you got
right.
out of
Yeah. I
jail.
think I
Okay.
think it was kind of a wake-up call, because
Thank
he
goodness.
was addicted to drugs and alcohol.
Oh, yeah,
He
that didn't
was
help.
in the jail for, I don't know, 5 days or something because he went a little crazy detoxing.
Okay.
And when he came out, I think he sort of realized what trouble he was in,
Mm.
and because he was now convicted or accused with a felony, domestic violence and attempted murder, and um, so there was a lot around that. And he had a business in town, um, so he could lose a lot of things, right? So yeah, he kept his distance, but get this, the family court gave him 50-50 custody.
Oh my God.
So this
How is that possible? You
happens
know?
all the time,
I
happens all
know
the
it
time.
does. It's
So,
shocking. It really is.
it's shocking, and after all was said and done, I went to court every time, and, after all was said and done, he had a $258 fine,
Mm.
only a misdemeanor. The DA dropped all the charges,
Oh
I
my God.
didn't, and the, he had a anger management class, and he had to pick up trash on the side of the freeway for, like, 6 weeks. Saturday in the orange jumpsuit kinda thing. But that was the extent of his punishment,
Oh my God.
and he got 50% custody. So,
That's even the worst part
that's the wor yeah, that's
is
the
the
worst.
fact
And the
that the
kids.
kids have to be with someone who is not safe.
Yeah, and they didn't wanna be with him. They didn't wanna go to his
Ugh.
house, but, he would call and say, "If you don't bring them, I'm gonna call the, authorities
Yeah,
on
and then
you,"
you're
and
gonna have issues with
yeah, and so
yeah.
they're kinda stuck in the middle. So it didn't last very long. He got a new victim, and,
I was just gonna say, I mean, that's the problem with letting him off with a misdemeanor and not a huge fine and not a longer situation is that he's gonna do this to the next person.
right. Yeah, and he did. He got a new victim. They got married quickly.
Yeah, that's what yeah, he wanted to get her in
Yeah,
quick before she realized who he was.
and she actually would call me occasionally and say, "He's doing this. What do I do?"
Leave.
Yeah, leave.
I only have one piece of advice.
Yeah, and
Go.
and she had kids,
Yeah.
and he was
Oh.
so mean to those kids. They actually
Oh.
taken away,
Oh my
and
God.
the
Oh.
her ex got, like, full custody of her kids.
Well, that's good
Mm.
for the those kids. I mean,
Yeah.
that is just the justice system failing all over the
All
place.
over, yeah, all over the place, yeah, it was it was shocking, but,
Mm,
at the time, I was just trying to make it through, and he
yeah,
left me we just bought a house, like, 6 months prior to that, and,
yeah.
he didn't give me any money, any child support, nothing, left me with I had to sell the house,
Oh my
because
gosh.
I and the market had dropped out of the house, by that
Mm,
or out of the housing market by that time, so,
mm,
um, I had to short sale my house. I lost my $150,000 down payment
my
because
gosh.
the housing market just crashed right after that.
Was it
Um,
2008?
it was yeah,
Yeah,
2007, 2008.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and, yeah, it was kind of a nightmare, but I just you kinda have to pull it together and you kinda just do what you need to do with your kids and move and try and give them the best that you can and you try and heal, but there were some tough times after that, I mean, I
yeah.
remember 1 week of just laying in bed, like, not doing anything.
That seems very, yeah, that seems very logical that you would that you would need to do that. I know so much about what you're sharing, and I
Yeah,
have been through it as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
So,
when and
you know.
there are times when, you just stay quiet and you
Yeah.
those eggshells are everywhere.
Yep.
Just trying to tiptoe around and keep
Yeah.
the kids quiet and keep yourself safe and it's it's no fun, it's terrifying, and you don't realize you're just trying to survive, but you don't
Yeah.
realize the terror that you
Yes.
live through.
Yeah, because you normalize it in so many, you don't totally normalize it, but you normalize it as your life.
You do, and
Yeah.
there's so much shame and judgment around it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't really talk about it,
Right.
and, you don't wanna tell people, like, "Oh, this is going on at home."
Yeah.
Um, and so what do?
Yeah.
You just kind of try make a plan and how am I gonna get out of this and
Yeah, the plan. I don't know about you, but the plan would always be
the plan's
that.
always in the back of your head.
And I didn't have kids, so I can't imagine that extra added fear and concern that you have children in the scenario as well, and it's like, "How do I do this?"
Yeah, because the kids are really affected because he doesn't
Yeah.
just take the anger out on me, takes everything out on the kids too. So
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
never do anything right and they're always getting in trouble for this and that and they can't make any noise because he doesn't want to hear it. And they're fooling
Yeah.
around. And I remember one time we were in the car and we used to get in the car. My daughter would have panic attacks in the car because he would always be mad in the car.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Mhm. Yep.
And I remember once some water spilled on him in the car somehow. I don't remember how it happened, but he had an open bottle of water or something and it spilled as he turned the corner and he screamed about it and my kids started laughing so hard in the seat. And, that was it. We were punished the rest of the
Oh,
day because we laugh at this. It was just
right.
water. It was just
Yeah.
like, instead of just laughing like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that thing just spilled on me," and laughing about
Yeah.
it, it
Yeah.
was this big where everybody had to be punished because we laughed. And,
Yeah.
and I remember my son telling me, I don't know, he was younger. It was a few years before, we actually divorced. But he said, "Mom, I need to talk to you." I said, "What is it?" He goes, "Divorce, Dad, I hate him." Uh,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
and I was like, "Ugh, it's not that easy, buddy, but
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and we'd separated several times throughout the relationship because I couldn't do it. Um and the longest time was like 9 months, and then we got
Mm.
back together.
Yeah, I did that too. So don't I 6 years on and off. Yeah. It's just it's I don't know if this comes true for you, but it's like a nightmare and part of your self-identity and something you're trying to escape all at the same time.
Absolutely. To me, it was more about my duty.
Yeah, codependency.
Codependency, right. My
Yeah,
duty
yeah.
as a wife, as a mom,
Right,
as a daughter, as
right,
a all the things in my upbringing and my background
yeah,
everything that if I get divorced, I'm failing, and, I just couldn't do I just didn't wanna fail.
right.
I
Yeah, and especially, like, coming from a more patriarchal, skewed family, you're so, like, um, conditioned and to believe that, that everything should be directed to the males in the family. All the
absolutely.
tolerance, all the understanding, the feelings of the male is are the most important feelings and the whole thing. And so, of course, and the Catholic and the in the marriage and the traditional beliefs around that. I mean, there's just of course that was where you were, l- and I know people who never left. So
Yes. Yeah, my mom
what you
never
did,
left. My
your
mom
mom never
never
left,
left.
yeah,
She's
and she's still there. Yeah.
well, no, she's passed, a couple
She's
years ago.
passed, okay.
But yeah, she stayed, and in fact, the last time I talked to my parents, I showed up at their house, and my mom had a black eye, and
Oh,
glasses were
jeez.
broken, and
Oh my
I
god, that's
said,
heartbreaking.
"I can't believe you're still doing this," like, in their 80s. I can't believe you're still doing this. I was so mad, um, and I left. That was the last time I actually talked to them because I just, was so just so mad and so sick of it, and I wasn't going to keep their secrets anymore, and I wasn't going to put up with it anymore, and I wasn't gonna turn around and enable it anymore because, when you're a kid and that's happening in the house, I mean, you get told lies about what happened and,
Of course.
and
Yeah.
you never talk like, the secrets we keep are the poison that make us sick, right?
Yes,
Those
amen.
secrets, and we were taught to keep secrets, and we were taught to never talk about it, so whatever happened the night before, we didn't ta we just got up the next morning, and we put a smile on our face, and we
Yep.
went on, and we did our business, and
Yeah.
we went to school, and we went and, "Oh,
No one would have known.
yeah, your mom no, but my mom would be in the hospital. Your mom's
Oh,
in the hospital, and I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, she got hurt at work," or whatever lie we were told that we
right, to
repeated,
tell. Yeah.
and it wasn't until years later, recently, in the recent past, that I started kind of going back in my memories and going, "Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh," thinking of
Yeah.
all these times,
Yeah.
that things had happened to my mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's part one with Lisa Jimenez. In part two, we continue with Lisa's story and get into how she decided not just to survive what she'd been through, but to use her painful past to inspire change in the world. To check out She Is Me Global, go to sheismeglobal.com. Anyways, as always, this has been the Spiritual Shitshow podcast. My name is Suzanne Sole, and I would like to thank your delicious ears for listening. And I will see you on the next one. Roll it, you incredible MFer.